The blade glinted in the moonlight, inches from my throat, as her eyes wild with rage locked onto mine. I didn't scream, I couldn't. All I could think was that this woman, this stranger who wanted me dead, would one day hold my daughter's heart. My name is Elena Harper, and I was 32 when my life unraveled in a dive bar on the outskirts of Portland, Oregon. It was 2018, and I was nursing a whiskey, trying to drown the ache of a failed relationship and a custody battle that left me with only weekends with my 5-year-old daughter Lily. The bar was a haze of cigarette smoke and regret, the kind of place where dreams went to die. I wasn't looking for trouble, but trouble found me in the form of Cassandra Monroe Cass, as I'd later know her. She stormed in like a hurricane, all sharp edges and fury, her auburn hair catching the dim light like fire. She was 35, though her eyes carried the weight of someone older, someone who'd seen too much. I didn't know her, but she knew me. She slid into the booth across from me, her gaze cutting through the haze. "You're Elena Harper," she said, not a question but an accusation. Her voice was low, dangerous, like the hum of a storm about to break. I froze, my glass halfway to my lips. "Who's asking?" "You ruined my life," she hissed, leaning closer. Her hands were clenched, knuckles white, and I saw the glint of something metallic in her grip, a knife, small but deadly, tucked against her palm. My heart slammed against my ribs. I didn't know this woman, didn't know what I'd done to earn her hatred, but the venom in her eyes told me she wasn't here to talk. "What are you talking about?" I managed, my voice steady despite the panic clawing at my chest. The bar was too loud, too chaotic. No one would notice if she lunged. "You took everything from me," she said, her voice cracking. Not with tears but with something deeper, something raw. "And now you're going to pay." I don't know how I got out of that bar alive. Maybe it was the bartender who noticed the tension and shouted for last call, forcing her to slip the knife back into her pocket. Maybe it was the way I held her gaze, refusing to flinch, even as my mind raced with questions. Who was she? What had I done? I stumbled into the rainy night, my pulse pounding, her face burned into my memory. The next morning I filed a police report, but it was useless. No clear description, no motive, just a vague sense of dread that followed me like a shadow. I tried to push it aside, to focus on Lily, who was coming to stay with me that weekend. Lily was my anchor, my reason to keep going. Her laughter, her tiny hand in mine, made the world feel less broken. But even as I played with her at the park, I couldn't shake the feeling that Cass was watching, waiting. Weeks passed and I thought maybe it was over. A one-time scare, a misunderstanding. Then I saw her again at my daughter's school. She was standing across the street, her auburn hair unmistakable, her eyes fixed on me as I picked up Lily. My blood ran cold. This wasn't random. She was hunting me. I started digging. I wasn't a detective, just a graphic designer with a knack for research and a desperate need to protect my kid. I scoured social media, public records, anything I could find. Cassandra Monroe was a ghost, but I pieced together fragments. She'd been a social worker, had a history of mental health struggles, and had lost her job a year ago. Nothing connected her to me, not directly. But then I found a court document from a case I'd been tangentially involved in. A pro bono design project for a nonprofit supporting foster kids. Cass had been a caseworker on that project and something had gone wrong. Horribly wrong. The nonprofit had been sued, accused of negligence in a foster care placement that ended in tragedy. A child had been hurt, and Cass had been blamed. My designs, posters, flyers, a website had been part of the campaign that drew attention to the nonprofit, inadvertently putting a target on her back. I hadn't known. I'd just been doing my job. Guilt gnawed at me, but it didn't erase the fear. She tried to kill me, or at least scare me half to death. I couldn't let her near Lily. So I moved, changed my number, and kept my head down. For a while it worked. Life settled into a fragile rhythm. Work, Lily, repeat. But Cass wasn't done with me. One night I came home to find my apartment door ajar. My heart stopped. Lily was with her dad, thank God, but the violation hit me like a punch. Nothing was stolen, but a single photo was left on my kitchen counter, a picture of me and Lily at the park, taken from a distance. On the back, in sharp, angry handwriting, "You can't run forever." I didn't sleep that night. I installed cameras, got a restraining order, and started carrying pepper spray. But the fear was a living thing, curling around my heart every time I left the house. I didn't know how to fight a ghost, and Cass was exactly Theta Spectre of rage and pain, haunting me for sins I hadn't meant to commit. Then everything changed. It was a rainy Tuesday and I was late picking up Lily from school. I was running across the parking lot when I saw her standing by the school gate, holding an umbrella. But she wasn't watching me. She was talking to Lily. My daughter was smiling, holding a small origami crane, and Cass was kneeling, her face soft, almost tender. I froze, torn between fury and confusion. Why was she here? What was she doing with my daughter? I stormed over, ready to scream, but Lily saw me and ran into my arms. Mommy, look. Cass made me a crane. She's so nice. My stomach twisted. Nice? This was the woman who'd held a knife to my throat. But Lily's eyes were bright, trusting, and Cass was standing there. Not running, not hiding, just looking at me with something like defeat in her eyes. I'm not here to hurt you, she said quietly before I could speak. I needed to see her. To know she was okay. I didn't believe her. I grabbed Lily and left, my heart racing. But that moment stuck with me. The way Cass had looked at Lily, the way Lily had smiled, it didn't fit the image of the woman who tried to destroy me. I didn't know it then, but that was the beginning. The beginning of something impossible. Something that would break me open and rebuild me in ways I never imagined. The rain didn't stop for days, mirroring the storm inside me. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Cass's face, not the furious woman in the bar, but the one kneeling beside Lily, her hands gentle as she folded that origami crane. It didn't make sense, and that terrified me more than the knife ever had. I kept Lily close, skipping her after-school program and working from home to avoid any chance encounters. But I couldn't stop her from talking about Cass. She told me the crane means hope, Mommy, Lily said one night, clutching the paper bird as we read bedtime stories. She said it flies even when it's sad. I forced a smile, but my chest ached. How could a woman who'd wanted me dead teach my daughter about hope? I needed answers. Against my better judgment, I tracked Cass down. It wasn't hard. She wasn't hiding anymore. She was volunteering at a community center in a rough part of Portland, teaching art to kids from broken homes. I went there one evening, leaving Lily with a sitter, my pepper spray tucked in my pocket. The center was a crumbling brick building, but inside it was alive with color murals on the walls, kids laughing, and Cass at the heart of it, her auburn hair tied back, paint smudged on her cheek. She saw me and froze, her paintbrush hovering over a canvas. The kids didn't notice the tension. They were too busy with their own projects. I didn't know what I'd expected, anger maybe or defiance, but her eyes were tired, almost pleading. Elena, she said softly, I didn't expect you to come. I didn't expect to be here. I snapped, keeping my distance. Why were you with my daughter? What do you want? She set the brush down, wiping her hands on her apron. Can we talk? Somewhere private. Against every instinct, I followed her to a small office in the back. It was cluttered with art supplies and photos of kids, some smiling, some haunted. She closed the door and leaned against it, like she was bracing herself. I owe you an apology, she said. For that night. For everything. I crossed my arms, my anger a shield. You held a knife to my throat. You stalked me. You left a photo in my apartment. An apology doesn't cut it. She flinched but didn't look away. I know. I was lost. I'd lost everything, my job, my purpose, my family. And I blamed you. For what? I demanded. I didn't even know you. She took a shaky breath, her hands twisting together. You designed the campaign for Hope's Haven, the nonprofit. I was a caseworker there. One of my kids, a boy named Marcus. He was placed in a foster home that wasn't safe. I tried to warn them, but no one listened. Your campaign brought in so much attention, so many donations, but it also hid the cracks. When Marcus got hurt, they needed a scapegoat. That was me. Her words hit like a punch. I remembered the project, late nights designing logos, crafting slogans about saving kids. I'd been proud of it, thought I was making a difference. I hadn't known about Marcus, hadn't known about Cass. I didn't know, I said, my voice quieter now. I was just doing my job. I know that now, she said. But back then I was drowning. I saw your name on the campaign materials and I snapped. I'm not proud of it. I'm trying to be better. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to scream, to tell her she didn't get to play the victim after what she'd done. But another part saw the pain in her eyes, the same kind I'd felt when I lost custody of Lily for those long weekdays. Why Lily? I asked finally. Why were you at her school? Her face softened, and for the first time, I saw something like love in her expression. I saw her picture in your apartment. She looked so much like Marcus, same smile, same spark. I needed to know she was okay. That you were taking care of her. She's my daughter, I said, my voice sharp. Of course I'm taking care of her. I know, Cass said quickly. I'm not trying to take her from you. I don't know how to explain it. I saw her, and it was like seeing a piece of what I'd lost. I left the community center more confused than ever. Cass wasn't the monster I'd built her up to be, but she wasn't safe either. I couldn't trust her, not after everything. But Lily's words kept echoing in my head. She's so nice. I hated how much that hurt. Over the next few weeks, I kept tabs on Cass from a distance. She was good with the kids at the center, patient in a way I hadn't expected. I saw her teach a shy girl how to paint, saw her sit with a boy who was crying, her hand steady on his shoulder. It was hard to reconcile that woman with the one who'd terrified me. But I couldn't let my guard down. Then Lily got sick. It was just a fever at first, but it spiked fast, landing her in the hospital with pneumonia. I was a wreck, barely sleeping, camped out in her room as machines beeped and nurses came and went. One night I stepped out to get coffee, and when I came back, Cass was there. She was sitting by Lily's bed, reading her a story, her voice soft and steady. Lily was smiling, her eyes heavy but happy. What the hell are you doing here? I whispered, not wanting to wake Lily. Cass closed the book, her face pale. I volunteer here sometimes. I saw her name on the patient list. I'm sorry, I didn't mean get out, I said, my voice shaking. But Lily stirred, reaching for Cass's hand. Don't go, she mumbled. I like your stories. I stood there, frozen, as Cass looked at me, her eyes pleading for something I wasn't ready to give. I didn't know it then, but that moment was the crack in the wall I'd built around my heart. Cass wasn't just a threat anymore. She was something else, something I didn't want to name. Lily's fever broke after a week, but the hospital's stay left me raw, like every nerve was exposed. I couldn't stop thinking about Cass, reading to her. The way Lily's face had lit up despite the tubes and the beeping monitors. It felt like a betrayal, but not from Cass, from my own heart, which didn't know how to hate her anymore. I took Lily home, but the questions followed me. Why did Cass keep showing up? Why did Lily trust her so easily? And why, despite everything, did I feel a pull toward her, a dangerous, reckless pull that made my chest ache? I tried to focus on routine school drop-offs, freelance deadlines, bedtime stories. But Cass was a ghost in my thoughts, her auburn hair and sad eyes haunting me. One afternoon, I got a call from Lily's school. She'd gotten into a fight, me, sweet, gentle girl, who'd never raised her voice. I rushed over, my mind racing with worst-case scenarios. The principal explained that a boy had been bullying Lily, calling her names because she only had a mom, no dad in the picture most days. Lily had pushed him hard enough to knock him down. I was stunned, but when I saw her sitting in the office, her small face defiant, I saw myself in her, the same stubborn fire. On the drive home, Lily was quiet, clutching that damn origami crane. Why do people hate us, Mommy? She asked, her voice small. Because we're different. I pulled over, my hands shaking on the wheel. No one hates us, baby, I said, though the lie burned my throat. Some people just don't understand. That night, I did something I swore I wouldn't. I called Cass. I'd kept her number from a volunteer roster at the community center, telling myself it was for safety, not this. She answered on the second ring, her voice cautious. Elena, I need to talk, I said, my voice tight. About Lily. About everything. We met at a coffee shop, neutral ground. She looked different in the daylight, less like a threat, more like a woman carrying too much weight. We sat in silence at first, the hum of the espresso machine filling the space between us. Then she spoke. I'm not trying to hurt you anymore, Elena. I swear it. I was in a dark place and I took it out on you. I'm sorry. I wanted to stay angry, but her words were heavy with truth. Why do you keep showing up? I asked. Why, Lily? She looked down at her coffee, her fingers tracing the rim of the cup. I lost someone too. My sister. She was, like you, strong, fierce, a single mom. She died 3 years ago and I couldn't save her or her kid. When I saw Lily, it was like seeing them again. I know it's messed up, but I just wanted to protect her. Her words hit me harder than I expected. I'd lost people to not to death but to distance, to choices I couldn't undo. I thought of my ex, Lily's dad, who'd walked away when things got hard. I thought of the nights I'd cried myself to sleep, wondering if I was enough for Lily. You can't just insert yourself into our lives, I said, but my voice lacked conviction. I know, she said. I'll stay away if that's what you want. I didn't answer. I didn't know what I wanted. After that, Cass kept her distance, but Lily didn't. She started asking about her, drawing pictures of cranes and talking about the stories Cass had told her in the hospital. I couldn't bring myself to throw the drawings away. Then one Saturday, I took Lily to the community center's art fair, thinking it was safe, that Cass wouldn't be there. I was wrong. She was leading a workshop, helping kids make paper lanterns. Lily ran to her before I could stop her, her face bright with excitement. I watched from a distance as Cass knelt beside her, their heads bent together, laughing over a lopsided lantern. It should have made me angry, but instead it made my heart ache in a way I hadn't felt in years. That night I let Cass come over. It was impulsive, stupid, but Lily begged and I was tired of fighting whatever this was. We sat in my living room, Lily between us, coloring while Cass and I talked carefully, like we were stepping around broken glass. She told me about her sister, about the guilt that had eaten her alive. I told her about Lily's dad, about the fear of failing her. It was the first time I'd opened up to anyone in years, and it scared me how easy it felt. Over the next few months, Cass became a quiet presence in our lives. She'd drop by with art supplies for Lily, or we'd run into her at the park, always by chance, or so I told myself. I watched her with my daughter, saw the way she really listened when Lily talked about her dreams or her fears. I saw the way Cass's eyes softened when she looked at me too, and I hated how much I noticed it. One night, after Lily was asleep, Cass stayed late. We were on the couch, a bottle of wine between us, the air heavy with things unsaid. I don't know how to do this, I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. You scared me. You still do. But I don't want you to go. She looked at me, her eyes searching mine. I don't want to go either, she said. And then before I could think, she leaned in and I didn't pull away. Her lips were soft, hesitant, and for the first time in years I felt like I could breathe. But love doesn't erase the past. And the past wasn't done with us. That kiss changed everything. It was like a dam breaking, flooding my life with feelings I'd buried under fear and survival. Cass and I didn't talk about it at first, but we didn't need to. The way she looked at me, the way her hand brushed mine when we passed the salt at dinner, said more than words could. Lily noticed too. She started calling Cass Auntie Cass, a title that made my heart lurch with both joy and terror. I was falling for Cass hard, but the memory of that knife, that photo in my apartment, lingered like a bruise. I wanted to trust her, but trust was a fragile thing and I had Lily to protect. We settled into a rhythm, the three of us. Picnics in the park, movie nights with popcorn fights, Cass teaching Lily to paint while I watched, my heart swelling with something dangerously close to hope. Cass was good for Lily, better than I'd ever expected. She had a way of making Lily feel seen, like her small worries and big dreams mattered equally. I saw the woman Cass was becoming, not the one who'd been broken by grief and blame. But the past has a way of clawing its way back. It started with a letter. Anonymous, slipped under my door, the words typed in stark black ink. She's dangerous. Don't trust her. My stomach dropped. I showed it to Cass, expecting her to brush it off, but her face went pale. I've gotten these too, she admitted, pulling a similar letter from her bag. Hers said, "You don't deserve redemption." We tried to trace them, but they were untraceably, no postmark, no fingerprints, just cruel intent. I wanted to believe it was a prank, but the fear in Cass's eyes told me she knew something I didn't. "There's something I haven't told you," she said one night after Lily was asleep. We were on my balcony, the city lights flickering below. After I lost my job, I got involved with some bad people. I was angry, desperate. They fed into that. What kind of people? I asked, my voice tight. They called themselves activists, but they were more like vigilantes. They targeted people they thought were corrupt politicians, nonprofits, anyone tied to the system. I didn't do anything illegal, but I got close. Too close. When I walked away, they didn't take it well. I felt sick. Are they the ones sending these? Maybe, she said, her voice barely audible. I thought I'd left that behind. I'm so sorry, Elena. I wanted to be angry, but all I felt was fear for Lily, for us. We need to go to the police, I said. She shook her head. They'll dig into my past. It'll make things worse. Let me handle it. I didn't like it, but I agreed, mostly because I didn't know what else to do. We doubled down on security cameras, alarms, a new lock on the door. But the letters kept coming, each one more threatening. You can't hide. She'll betray you. Your daughter isn't safe. I stopped letting Lily play outside, kept her home from school. She didn't understand, and her confusion broke my heart. Then one night it escalated. I woke to the sound of glass shattering. My bedroom window was broken, a brick on the floor with a note tied to it. Leave her or you both die. I called the police, but they found no fingerprints, no witnesses. Cass stayed with us that night, holding me as I shook, promising she'd fix it. But I saw the doubt in her eyes, the guilt she couldn't shake. The next day I confronted her. Who are these people, Cass? What did you do? She told me everything, how she joined a group that hacked systems, exposed secrets, and targeted people like the ones who'd ruined her career. She'd never hurt anyone, she swore, but she'd shared information, names, including mine. When she realized how far they'd go, she left, but not before they'd marked her as a traitor. They're trying to punish me, she said. Through you. I felt betrayed, but I also saw her pain, the way she was fighting to be better. I loved her, I couldn't deny it anymore, but love wasn't enough if it put Lily in danger. You need to go, I told her, my voice breaking. I can't risk her. Cass didn't argue. She packed a bag and left, her eyes wet with tears. Lily cried for days, asking why Auntie Cass was gone. I didn't have an answer that didn't hurt. For a month life was quiet. No letters, no bricks, just the ache of missing Cass. I thought maybe it was over, that we could heal. Then I got a call from the hospital. Cass had been attacked, beaten badly, left in an alley. I went to her, Lily in tow, because I couldn't leave her alone. Cass was a mess of bruises, but alive, her eyes finding mine the moment I walked in. I'm sorry, she whispered. I tried to stop them. Lily climbed onto the bed, curling up beside her, and I didn't stop her. I sat there watching my daughter hold the woman I loved, and something shifted. Cass wasn't the enemy. She was fighting the same battle I was, for redemption, for family, for love. Cass's recovery was slow, but she fought for every step. I visited her daily, Lily's hand in mine, our lives entwined despite the fear still gnawing at me. The hospital room became a strange sanctuary, where we rebuilt what had been broken, not just between us, but within ourselves. The police caught the attackers, a splinter group from Cass's past, fueled by vengeance and paranoia. Cass testified against them, her voice steady as she recounted her mistakes, her regret. It was a turning point, not just for the case but for her. She was done running from her past. I saw it in the way she looked at me, no longer hiding, no longer afraid. When she was released, I didn't hesitate. Come home with us, I said. Lily cheered, and Cass's eyes filled with tears. We weren't just a couple now, we were a family, fragile but real. The threats stopped, but the scars remained, hers physical, mine emotional. We moved to a new apartment, a fresh start, and Cass became a constant in Lily's life. She taught her to paint, to fold cranes, to believe in second chances. One evening, as we stood on a cliff overlooking the Pacific, the sunset painting the sky in gold and pink, Lily ran ahead, chasing seagulls. Cass took my hand, her fingers warm against mine. I don't deserve this, she said, her voice thick. You and Lily. You're more than I ever hoped for. I looked at her, the woman who'd once held a knife to my throat, now the mother Lily chose, the woman I loved. We choose you too, I said, and meant it. Life wasn't perfect. There were fights, fears, moments when the past crept in. But we faced it together. Lily grew up with two moms who loved her fiercely, who taught her that love could heal even the deepest wounds. Cass and I built a life not just for us, but for every kid like Marcus, every woman like us searching for redemption. We started a foundation, using art to help foster kids find their voice, their hope. It was our way of making amends, of proving that broken things could mend. Standing on that cliff, I realized the truth. Love doesn't erase pain, but it transforms it. Cass had tried to kill me, but she'd also saved Usby, showing me that forgiveness was possible. That family wasn't just born but chosen. And in the end, that was the greatest gift of all. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.